What's good? Welcome. It's your man DM. I'm here. I got the homie EJ with me. EJ, you here?
Yeah.
Let's get the thing popping. We're gonna start it with some music. Let's go. It's called Love Letters.
You just gotta say it and stand on it, you know what I'm saying? I don't care how you feel. Yeah, I'm all talked out. What you speaking on? Thought you was following like a sing-along. Is that too hard to comprehend, my? Do I gotta slow it down with the pen? I get the same words, same results in the end. Take a seat, cause you're screwing up the blend. I'm going 0 to 100 when I'm chopping up again. What I look like choosing sides, I spin your block again. I could care less what you think when you look at me. What we gon' be? Friends, are we enemies? But I don't wanna go that route, it's feeling like you testing me. It ain't all sweet, stop living off the memories. But it's all good on my side. I let go of my pride. Whole team down for the ride. And I'm just living this life. I'm finished writing love letters, holding back my words, I'm too blocked up. I gotta be the truest me, yeah. Fits my personality, yeah. I'm finished writing love letters. I ain't gon' be that holding the grudge, but when them shots popped off, man, you know I didn't budge. And when the dirt hit my ear, I was brushing it off. You'll never get the satisfaction of saying it cost me to double back and get to disrespecting you. We are not competitors, treat you like a regular. My peace be the leveler, keep your distance, this my level up. Hope it makes sense, I'm a solid executioner. I could care less what you think when you look at me. What we gon' be? Friends, are we enemies? But I don't wanna go that route, it's feeling like you testing me. It ain't all sweet, stop living off the memories. But it's all good on my side. I let go of my pride. Whole team down for the ride. And I'm just living this life. I'm finished writing love letters, holding back my words, I'm too blocked up. I gotta be the truest me, yeah. Fits my personality, yeah. There's gotta be some peace for me. Feels like I miss a piece of me. There's gotta be some peace for me. Feels like I miss
add all
a
that in there.
piece of me.
Yeah. So we here. Shout out to DR3 Daniel for reimagining. That's what we're gonna call it. We don't do remixes, we do reimagines. Reimagining what that track could sound like. So that's fine. It's called Love Letters. Y'all hear it sometime soon. So we here, bro. And so as all we got conversations, bro.
Right.
And you know, we always repping Red 30, of course. You know what I'm saying? We always repping the 30-day reading, and that's where we get all our insight from with those red words, right? And so can I break it down how I got this thought that we're gonna talk about today? So many of my thoughts begin in the bathroom. It's something about just sitting there and taking time and just it's something about it, bro. I don't know. It's a special place, bro. Anyway, so I'm in the bathroom and I overheard somebody talking outside the bathroom, and they were talking about, you know, what we call witnessing to people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put air quotes because it makes it sound like I'm downgraded, but I'm really not. And so for those of you that are not familiar with that concept or that term, we call it witnessing, or we call it telling them about Jesus. And the process usually goes, really simple. Hey, you can do it any kind of way. Hey, do you know Jesus? Have you met Jesus? Are you saved? All these different words. If some people like to go the scary approach, and if you died today, where would you go? You know what I'm saying? And so would you go to hell, or you go to? So it's a whole bunch of that. But there's another phrase that we use a lot, and they call "Are you born again?" And in this particular time, I heard somebody say, to ask somebody if they were born again. The person didn't understand it, and a lot of times people answer that way. I don't know what that means. I go to church. I've been, what you mean born again?
Right.
And then, once you explain it some more, some people say, "Oh no, I don't know nothing about that." Or sometimes somebody will say, "Oh yeah. I prayed to accept Jesus in my heart."
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Or I'm
Yeah,
baptized.
yeah,
They say,
baptized.
yeah.
I'm baptized.
Right? Or whatever phrases they want to use. But that phrase "born again" sometimes is a normal phrase in the Christian church. It's a normal phrase that we become normal with and use when we think that it's understandable. But it's really not as simple as it is simple, but it can be complicated to somebody that's not used to the jargon. I think we did a pod, and we can go. Somebody can go back. Y'all go back and look at it, talking about colloquialisms.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The church and how they have the phrases that they fit that only the people inside of there understand, and so it's kind of weird for outsiders or people that's not accustomed to that community or whatever. So the phrase "born again." So I heard them, and it hit me. It hit me because, and it was like, well, you got to just, tell them and get them the normal way is you pray the prayer. Everybody bases on Romans 10:9 and 10. If thou confess with thy mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God raised Jesus from the dead, thou shalt be saved. For with the heart man believeth, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. Everybody use that. That's a wrap. We've stamped that as the way people are going to get Jesus in their heart. But I always wondered, how long does it take to believe something? Confess with your mouth. Okay, it's easy to say something with your mouth.
Right.
People do it all the time. But then believe in your heart is a little bit more intricate now.
Yeah.
There's really I don't really know how to tell if you believe it in your heart or not. You know what I'm saying? Only time can tell if you really believe it in your heart.
Yeah.
I can tell if you really believe it in your heart by the functioning and the fruit that you know a tree by the fruit it bears.
Yep.
So I'll know if you really believe it in your heart by the being that you are, coming from the inside to the outside. So it always, tripped me out because we would say the prayer and then you in. And I don't have anything against that. We called it the sinner's prayer. Of course, there's no such thing as the sinner's prayer. We talked about that before too on another pod. Y'all go back and look at all of them. But there's no such thing as sinner's prayer because it's not. There's no record of it in Scripture, right?
Right.
But these are the phrases that we use. I'm trying to get to it to give a basic understanding of what we're about to talk about. And so, normally you go there, then you're in, right? And it seems pretty simple. But so rewind back to the stories in John chapter 3, and then y'all get a chance to go read it. Nicodemus, he's a chief of the priests. He's a chief guy, top guy in the whole sector of what's in Jerusalem all that right now. He comes to Jesus at night, right? And he goes at night because he doesn't want anybody to know that he's talking to Jesus. Mm-hmm. Jesus is not really the popular guy according to the powers that be. Mm-hmm. He's popular with the people, some of the people, but the powers that be were unsure about him, and they didn't really like a lot of the things that he was doing because he was stealing their shine, number one. Yeah. But then two, it almost seemed like he was uprooting all the things that they didn't put in place to have control.
Yep.
You get me? And so back to Nicodemus, he comes at night and he said, we know you got to be sent from God or man of God, or whatever word he used. I want to read it just to we know you got to be sent from God, right? To be doing some of the things that you're doing, right? He says, I'm gonna say, he said, and he calls him rabbi, which is a Jewish term for the honors, the master, the rabbi, right? So he calls him master. So he says, master. He said, we know that thou art a teacher come from God. Mm-hmm. For no man can do these miracles that thou doest except God be with him. Mm-hmm. So he's acknowledging that the only way you can do these things if God is with you. All right.
Right.
And Jesus answers him very particularly. He says, verily, verily, I say unto you, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. So that's where we get the whole. Then we read further. Nicodemus said to him, how can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter again the second time into his mother's womb and be born? It's a question. And Jesus answered and said, verily, verily, I say unto you, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, you cannot enter into the kingdom of God. That which is born of flesh is flesh, that was born of spirit is spirit, and keep it right. He said, marvel not that I say unto thee, you must be born again. Mm-hmm. Then he goes on to talk about it. And So that's where we get the phrase born again from, right? Mind you, we also use the term saved, but Jesus doesn't. He only uses it a few times, and the first times he used it, he's talking about somebody. Watch this. He says that endures to the end shall be saved. Watch me. He said they're going to be people that are going to persecute you. The father going to turn against the son. The brother going to set up the brother, mother against the daughter. And he said, and there's going to be a bunch of stuff going on, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. Another time he said there's going to be hypocrites and false prophets coming. They're going to come out to, but he that endured to the end. He that endured to the end. It says, he that endures to the end shall be saved. It sounds like a process to me. Yeah. So this is when Jesus used the phrase saved. Now, mind you, the way the common modern day church is, hey, it don't matter what denomination it is, Catholic, Episcopalian, Protestant, Word of Faith, Evangelical, whatever you want to call it, there is almost like a speech or a ritual that gets you in.
Yep.
You get me? And you're in now. Yeah. Like you're in the club now. You signed up, you're in the club. And so you hear them do this prayer, right? And it's like you're in the club. But I've seen so many people to say the prayer, but still not. Well, first of all, I've seen a whole bunch of people that say they saved and born again, and you don't see no results. And that's another part that we're going to do really soon, because there's a bunch of people talking about I'm born again and I'm saved, but they don't look like what Jesus looks like. Yeah. Okay, it don't have you're not bearing the same fruit. Right. And I'm not talking about fruits of peace and patience and all that. I'm talking about like the actual actions and results and manifestation. Okay, another part, but so now you're in. You said the prayer, now you're in. But he endured to the end shall be saved. He didn't endure to the end shall be saved. Right? It's in the book of Matthew when he says this, right? So back now, he said you must be born again. And Nicodemus asks that's a pretty good question he asked. He said like what? Because it's weird.
Yeah.
He come to Jesus and said, man, we know you got to be from God because you're doing these works and ain't nobody doing it unless God be with them.
Right.
And then Jesus' response is, except a man be born again, he should not see the kingdom. That's a pretty weird conversation, right? It can be weird if you don't allow yourself to break down to the simplicity of it, right? And what Jesus is telling. And so Nicodemus answers, right? You know what I mean? He answers probably like any one of us answer like what you mean born again? Think about the phrase now, born again. And he asks a real legit question. What is a man supposed to go back into his mother's womb? I'm grown already. Like, am I supposed to go back into my mother's womb as a baby, as an embryo, as a whatever, and then do like how can he do it? Yeah. And Jesus goes on to talk about it, the weather, wind, listen, the water going, was born of spirit, born of flesh, right? He talks about it, right? But when I heard I'm back to the bathroom, all right? When I heard it, I said, born again, okay. And so I made when I was explaining it, me and you were talking, and I said, well, I say shake my hand. So we shook hands. And I said, now shake my hand again. We shook my hand again. And like right now, if I'm on the screen right now, I snap. Boom, I snap. Now, if you tell me snap again,
you snap. Yeah.
I do the same thing that I just did. Do it again. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because there's no such thing as again if there was never an initial motion or an action. So in order for me to be born again, I would have had to be born before. Right? Also, again means, you ready? Again means it's the same process. You get it? So if I do it again, the foundation of the characteristics of what that thing is happening all over.
Yeah.
You get it? So if I shake your hand, we shake hands. Then I say shake my hand again. You don't give me 5. Although our hands connect, you don't give me 5. You don't. You know what I'm saying? Give me dap. No, you shake my hand again because that's what again means. Right. So if you must be born again, right? Now we know it because it can't happen physically, but what concept is Jesus trying to get across? Yep. All right. Now watch what I'm saying. So born again. Say the phrase. Say it, born again.
Born again.
Okay, born again. Y'all say it too. Born again. Okay. So if it's born again, then I can't understand being born again until I rehearse how I was born before. Yep. All right. And I got a couple befores, right? So let's go back to physically. Well, EJ, can you go into a slight explanation of the process of being born?
2 people do the thing.
Okay. Do the thing. Yeah. Right?
DNA is mixed.
DNA
Yep.
gets mixed, right? We still don't know how that works.
Yeah, we know how
He
it
also
works.
says how the bones grow in the womb. We have no
clue.
idea.
No clue.
We have no clue how that works. It's a miracle, right?
Yep.
Okay, but the people get together.
They get together, DNA mix,
Egg, sperm,
the egg,
embryo,
and
all that,
and
right?
pregnancy and
all that. So the whole
Yep.
process.
Yeah, the whole
I
process
want to
of
keep the word process.
Yep.
Now I was born on June 27th, right? 1982. I was born June 27th. But that was just the day that I broke ground.
Yep.
Like that was the day that I came outside of my mother's stomach and breathed this air out here for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that doesn't mean, and this is the whole, choose life, all that stuff, the abortion, all that stuff. This is a whole conversation.
Yeah.
But I was alive before then.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember Shanice, my little girl, she'll be one soon, but I can remember her being in the stomach and kicking. I remember seeing the ultrasound. She was alive and moving around, and she had a little attitude in there too. She hit the little ultrasound wine when the lady had it on there, so I was like, oh my God, what? And now that I've met her, I totally understand.
Yep.
She was like that already before she got here, right? But that whole process, she was alive before the day that she broke ground. Before the day that I first saw her, I knew that she was there. And I was nurturing and protecting her and doing certain things because she was alive there. Me and her mother were doing certain things. Her mother was eating certain ways. We were protecting certain things we just wasn't doing because we had to protect the life that was already there. So being born is not just the process of being born is not just the day that you break ground and begin to breathe air here.
Right.
It's actually a culmination of everything from conception,
Yep.
right, to from conceiving the baby to actually the baby is birthing out into this atmosphere. All right, you got me?
Mm-hmm.
This is the process of being born. You get me?
Yep.
So if this is the process of being born, then if that's the process of being born, then why would Jesus mean something different when he said you must be born again? Now, there's a lot of phrases say, he's talking about because Nicodemus was relying on his Jewish and they thought they were God-chosen people. So he was saying, yo, you gotta rethink this, you gotta do it. And that's cool. But even the process of they don't have sex and then have a baby the next day.
Nope.
And sometimes in our current society, that's how we want things.
Yep.
We want to start a business and want to pop off tomorrow.
Yep.
We want to start a channel and want it to pop off the next day. We want, what I'm saying? We want fast food. We want to put it in the microwave 3 minutes, pow. But regardless of all the technology and all the things that happen, there's still a 9-month period that needs to be endured for actual birth to take place.
Yep.
You get it?
Yep.
This is birth. This is we also call this another phrase. We call it new birth, right? Like the new birth, right? But I've learned that Jesus is trying to say that you have to. Can I go to another place? He says, if any man come after me, let him deny himself, take up the cross and follow me. Okay. Or he tells the rich young ruler, go sell what you have, give to the poor. You have treasures in heaven, then take up the cross and follow me. He doesn't say you got eternal life.
Nope.
He doesn't tell him, here, pray this prayer with me. Boom, you got eternal life. No, he doesn't say that. He says you got some things that you have to get together in order to understand what this life really is.
Right.
You must be
Born again.
So if you get it, so if I have to be born again, that means I have to observe the process of my birth at first.
Yep.
Now I always say this too, EJ, and I said this to you the other day, that we have an advantage because of all the technology we can see in the stomach, we can see in the ultrasound. But at those days, they didn't know nothing.
Right.
They just somebody conceived, they knew the times of the month and all that stuff. The better start getting that, and they know when it's close to time, and then boom, when it's time, it's time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We have so much technology to see things. We know 9 months. We know all these different things. We have somewhat of an advantage, so we can see the details of the birth process.
Yep.
You get me? But I want to say the word again. It's a process.
Yep.
Now I know that the mainstream and a lot of theologians are going to get upset with me about this actual conversation and this actual concept of what this is, but you can't deny that that's what it takes for birth. It takes that whole process.
Yep.
And so Jesus is trying to say that you need to reprocess your thinking. You need to now, however long that takes you, it is what it is.
Right.
But you need to reprocess and go through the process from the conception to the protection of that thought process. And I believe it. That's why I'm so big about Red in 30 and the whole 30-day reading of the gospel. Y'all go check out red30.com. And myself drowning in the red words, because what it does is it gives me the concept that Jesus has about life. I see how he sees it.
Yep. And
we always like to say we believe in the entire Bible. The Bible is a story about who you and I are, but the red words tell us who we really are in the story, right? We say that a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like it gives us the God in man, in flesh, the word in flesh perspective on life, right? Which is not the common perspective that we all have. And so in order to get there, sometimes we have to redevelop and retrain, right? Reconfigure, renew our souls, renew our minds. See, like that word, born again is just like renew. Mm-hmm. Renew means it was new. Now I got to make it new again. Yep. I got to go back to the newness that it was. You get me? You must be born again. I got to make it new again. Now I want to go a little further. If I go a little further, you can go past your initial birth and let's go back to the birth of man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? When man is created, how was that goes? Right? What is that story? You can go to Genesis and read it. What are some of the factors and the statements that's made that gives the characteristics of who man is, who mankind is, right? And I see that he creates man from the dust of the earth. Sometimes they call it Mother Earth, right? Then he breathes into man, and man becomes a living soul. At one point, he said, "Let us make man in our image and our likeness." Yep. You understand the concept? This is our initial conception. Right. This is where we come from. Yep. So if I must be born again, then the process that I had gone through before is the process that I need to recognize from the conception, and then and I feel like it's this, EJ. I feel like. Well, let me speak for myself personally. When I begin to look at things in this way, the way that Jesus sees them, it is a lot of times contrary to the popular understanding and visual. Right. If you really go dogmatic with it, like if you really get, I'm not talking about the surface stuff that everybody try to talk about discipleship. No, I'm not talking about discipleship right now. I don't want discipleship because the disciples, all of them got killed because they ain't know what was going on. I don't want to be a disciple right now. I'll be disciplined, but disciples is not good enough for me. Right. He says, the work that I do shall you do also. He said, you and me and I'm in you. I'm in the Father, Father in me, you and me and I'm in you. Okay, that's a little further than being a disciple. Yep. Okay. And so, but when I begin to look at things this way, and I talked to a girl the other day, and I said, what you know about Jesus? She said, I know a little bit. She said, I don't know. She said, when I was younger. I said, well, what? So you went to church? She said, well, I used to go with my grandma. And so I prayed with the girl. And then I put her on, Red and 30, and I said, she followed it too. And I said, shout out to Kenyara if you're seeing it, right? And she followed, and I said, people don't understand what Jesus is saying. He's really showing us how to be the best version of ourselves, the version that God intended. It's not just for church or for what we call spiritual things, but it's our everyday life, and Jesus is showing us how to walk that. Right. So simple, isn't it? Right. But see, that concept and the way that Jesus sees things, you almost have to protect that like you're protecting a pregnant baby, or like a baby in a pregnancy. Yep. During pregnancy, there's a lot of things you can't do. You can't ride roller coasters. You can't ride a horse. You can't be jumping all over the place. You can't, sometimes, they tell them they can't even sleep on their back because it'll make the baby suffocate at a certain time. Yeah, like in the stomach. Like you got to lay on your side. Clearly you can't lay on your stomach, right? Like there's certain things you can't eat. People have to stay away from alcohol, even regular wine, and so they got to stay away from that. Sandwich meat. I found it out this last time. It's like, stay away from deli meat and things that are not pasteurized because it can hurt the child. Like there's so many different things, right? And so you have to. It's a process of protection. Yep. And you have to. You ready for this? You have to protect this concept in your soul and in your mind until it comes to maturity in you, inside of you, the kingdom of God as well, in you, till it comes to the maturity on the inside of you, and then it begins to birth, right, the results that is God and man. When Jesus talking about born again, he was really explaining that the results that he was proving was really the birth again. It was really what God originally intended from the first concept. That's being born into the world again. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, have dominion. Jesus fully exemplified every single one of those steps, and he was birthing this into the world all over again. This is why he tells Peter really quick, and I know I'm jumping y'all of you. This is the first time that you just stick with me. He tells Peter, "Get behind me, Satan, for thou art an offense to me. For thou savest not the things that be of God, but things that men." He's trying to say, listen, I can't, you got to get behind me, because I can't be having this in my mind, making me rethink about myself. I know I got to go out here and die, and these people going to keep me, but I'm going to get up.
Right.
I don't need you telling me it's not going to be to me. Now, get behind me. He's protecting the seed of God on the inside of him.
Yep.
Do you get it?
Yep.
And so this is the process. Now, a lot of people won't go through the process. This is why I like the 30-day reading. And this is why I like the 30-day reading. And I'm going to do something real soon where I'll get with some people and we'll do like a curriculum. I've been saying that for the longest. I'll have a conversation because I like the 30-day reading because it makes you continue in that place, right? The pregnancy is not just 1 month.
Nope.
It is not just the final month.
Nope.
It is the process of growth and protection the whole time, right? Until there's a birth or a manifestation that breaks ground and is alive here in the atmosphere.
Yep.
That makes sense?
Yep.
So you must be born again. And he says, why do you marvel that I say you must be born again? Right? Mm-hmm. And I just read, they didn't want to hear all that because they was like, what you... And he says, the wind blow where it listen, thou hear the sound of it, but can't tell when it's coming. Whether it goes, so is everyone that's born of the Spirit. He's trying to say something, right? Nicodemus answered, how can these things be? Jesus says, art thou a master of Israel, know not these things?
Right.
Right? And he goes on to tell him, but he's trying to explain to him, if you would, and here's the process too. Sometimes the process is you have to take time to break down from what you think you know.
Exactly.
You and I were talking about this literally today.
Yeah, right.
That we think we know, but we don't know.
Don't know.
And Jesus is trying to show us this the whole time, bro. I even said, it's funny how he said meek and lowly in heart, humility. You know what I'm saying? Like, humility allows you to see what's really going on. Mm-hmm. But if you rely on knowledge, you'll be blind to what God is really doing. Even the beginning of the word human is same as humble, right? It's like humble, like be like low, meek and lowly heart, you find rest for your soul. You can't see what's really going on because you're such an adult in your understanding. You're such an adult in your knowledge that you don't even understand what's really happening. And so once again, I'll say this, and I guess we can end with it. This is a process.
Always.
Right? So you must be born again. And then there's a symbolism of it, because once they say once you get born again, or you get saved, or you pray the prayer, then join a church or get in the discipleship program. And I think they're shooting for that concept, but we have to understand that this is the whole born again experience.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is the whole born again experience. And you may make a change that first day. You may change. I've heard people say they've had experience and they changed that first day. They never went back to what they were doing before. Never went. I believe that. But even if you don't go back, you still must move forward. And moving forward is a development process. You must be born again. And you know what's funny about the born again when it comes down to Jesus? It never stops.
Yep. You're
always being recreated, reborn again. There's always something new, something fresh, expect fresh, that's manifesting from that.
And he showed it's literally being shown. It just on the physical side of our bodies.
Yep.
And then earth.
What? Yeah, the physical side of our bodies, because cell multiplication. Hey, you remember we watched that fight?
Yeah.
Not too long ago, and I wish I should have took a picture, put it on. We watched that fight too long ago, and I burned my foot. I dropped it all on my foot. Had a little splash mark on my foot, like a little black. It was so weird, y'all. I might post a picture like a little black splash mark. Man, I looked at my foot the other day. And this is what, 2-3 months? Looked at my foot the other day and I can't even see where it was at. Like I can kind of see, but my cells, and we did a pod about this recently about cell multiplication and about, the rhythm and all that. But my body went to work and rushed in that area to fix it. Like it's supposed to be. Truth of the matter is that we're not allowing the nature of God to rush to our defense and really make us into what we're supposed to be. You ready? It's all about yielding. This is another pod, but I'm going to give you this one before we leave. It's all about yielding, right? Mm-hmm. Because a well needs something to drop in there and pull the water up.
Yeah.
And some wells, we had a well in my uncle's yard when I was younger, had to be pumped to siphon that out of there. And it takes work to pump to get the flow. But a river just flows.
Right.
And the only thing you got to do with a river is get in it and let go.
Let go, that's it.
Sometimes you ain't got to let go because the river's so strong it'll take you.
Right.
And then it says, out of thy
belly,
pregnancy shall flow. You must be born again. Shall flow rivers of living water. That's another part. We'll dig on that a little bit more. I'm DM. That's EJ. We're here. We check you next time. Peace. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, tell somebody. Follow us on all social medias. We on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on X, all of those different platforms. You can look at Donovan Montreal. It's real simple. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen. Also, check out our Patreon. It's patreon.com/expectafresh. We call it the Expect the Fresh Network. We got a lot of good content on there, a lot of exclusive behind the scenes things of these pods, of these shows and other shows. And we'll be doing some exclusive things. Matter of fact, they'll get the videos on the Patreon first before anybody. So make sure y'all check out patreon.com/expectafresh. Listen, thank y'all for your support. We love you. And y'all keep tuning in and tell somebody about it. We'll see you next time.